Cutters, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Cutter, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinion. And this is number 174 on the list. And a while ago, and I haven't dealt with this for about a month, which is stupid, but anyway, I did a post that said that's the wrong one, sorry. For all I know, 20 days ago, I had the wrong one. For all I know, 20 days ago, I did this post earlier in October, and of course, this is October 22nd, 2022. So, the unpopular opinion is, for this one, is the biggest missed redemption arc is Lucas. Now, I know many characters had redemption arcs, like Spinner had his redemption arc, Jay had a kind of one, Holly J had one, they tried to give Tristan a redemption arc, but that failed. Emma may have gotten some kind of redemption arc, but not really. JT, I don't know if he got a redemption arc or Toby. But anyway, the biggest missed one was Lucas. And this is what I said. The guy seemed to not want to be a dad to Isabella, and Mia was not too happy with his actions. Not to mention Jane being embarrassed at her older brother. But then the events of Jane Says, the episode in season 8, made Lucas realize that he needs to protect Izzy from his dad thanks to what happened to Jane when she was a kid. So he joins his family in therapy and admits he blew the situation, but Jane gives him leeway, saying that they were just kids, and Lucas is making up for lost time. Then the next episode, he's vanished, and I feel like a few episodes updating us on Lucas's journey to redemption was needed, especially with Jane in seasons 8 and 9. But what do you guys think? Didn't get much fodder from this. Eli Goldsworthy stan, as in he likes Eli, said this. I mean, I don't care how much I don't care for JT as a character. What he said was still quite wrong. But for JT, I think he meant Lucas. But after seeing the ending for Jane Says, I don't know, I saw that he had potential. Like, he seemed to be a pretty decent dad and a pretty decent brother. It could have worked, but they blackballed him. People said that, the actor played him was great. Guest House Jovert said, I don't know, he wasn't a character I was invested in, but that's probably because the writers weren't trying very hard to make us invested in him. He could have been interesting, but it seemed like he was intentionally written as a launching pad for other characters' stories. On top of that, even if the writers did try to go into more depth of his art, the writing during seasons 8 and 9 was very uninteresting and didn't really work out. Yeah, and someone said because they knew Nina, as in Nina Dobrev, who played Mia, was going to leave the show, they couldn't do it. And all that. But C. Bowditch said he wasn't interested in being a dad. He just wanted Mia and still wanted to party. And he blamed Jane initially, but he does believe her eventually, so there is a glimmer of potential for redemption. So yeah, that's huge. All right, so the context of this is simple. So simply put, this is I talk about, the way Lucas was portrayed in season 7. He was a Lakehurst transfer because, Lakehurst burned down. And then logically, he gets involved in the Snake storyline with Darcy because Snake got booted because of what he allegedly did with Darcy, even though Darcy was lying to everyone. And Darcy did tell everyone the truth. But then all of a sudden, Snake couldn't come back to school because, at first, because of the allegations. So anyway, Lucas said he didn't want Simpson anywhere near his daughter, which was kind of weird and foreshadowing. But Lucas was found out to be a guy who just wasn't ready to be a dad. I mean, yeah, he's a teen dad, but he didn't want responsibility for Isabella, and he almost lost Isabella, and so did Mia. So logically, that's what happened. And then they had that party, and basically Lucas, in a way, was told to stay away from Isabella. I don't know. They have to do all that. But regardless, Lucas got involved with the Snake thing he made a website about Snake the pedophile or something like that. I don't know how it went. And Emma was too upset to even think about it, trying to prevent Snake from knowing. But of course, Snake goes in a little bit of downturn. Spike doesn't understand why Snake refuses to go back to Degrassi. I mean, it's the Lakehurst people that are ruining him, not the Degrassi people. And that leads to Spike temporarily leaving Snake to go with her mom. Emma almost went, but Emma says someone has to stay and help. And the family reconciles. So yeah, Lucas was just made as a jerk, and it was found out that Jane actually changed her name to Jane Fawn to try to distance herself. She's Anastasia. Um, what is her last name? Valerie. Yeah, Lucas goes by that, and changes it to Jane Fawn because she thought it'd be interesting. And then Jane says, well, Jane was in trouble for being on the football team, and no one wanted her on the team. Uh, so what happened was that she found out that her dad was coming back into her life. It was some kind of alumni football game because, it was the real football team versus the alumni stuff for alumni week and all that. And that's when the chef came back from his sensitivity training and no one cared to actually think that chef has changed. So, and Jane finds out about her dad being back in her life and she doesn't understand how and why she would be all that. She has warm memories of her dad, but then in the middle of the two-parter, she realizes that, oh my god, he sexually molested me. Like, all that. Lucas doesn't believe Jane at first, mostly because I think Lucas wanted his dad back in his life and probably wanted to change his life. But the pieces come together. Lucas is told by Jane about all this stuff. It says, and she said to Lucas, how long did he tuck me into bed? And he says, well, you always dress yourself wrong, so he was trying to dress you back up and all that because you couldn't get to sleep fast. And then after Jane says a few more things, Lucas realizes it and then sees his dad close to Isabella and realizes that he's going to get close to her and maybe sexually assault her. So he basically tells his dad off saying, we don't want you around. Our family doesn't need you anymore. We're fine. And then that's when Jane confesses to her mom that because her mom had to work shifts at work and Lucas was watching TV and all that, Jane was being dressed in her pajamas by her dad, but then Carlo would undress her and then do some awkward things and all that. And Jane finally realizes all her problems. So they go to family therapy. Lucas basically tells everyone how much of a douchebag he seems to be. But Jane gives them a pass, saying that, we were just kids and you're here now. And then, Lucas, is on the road to redemption. And then all of a sudden, poof, he's gone. We don't even see him after that episode. Not even one mention, not even one episode thing. Jane was in for 2 seasons, and yet she didn't say anything about Lucas and her road to redemption and all that. Kind of awkward, don't you think? So it just doesn't make sense. Why? Well, these things happen. So, yeah. Yeah, so anyway. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the thing about it. I'm just trying to understand it better. She feels uncomfortable. Yep. Whole family's excited he's back in their lives. So anyway, yeah. Jane realizes that her problem with her dad was huge. That the sexual abuse in the backward pajamas. Yeah. So anyway, they go into counseling and all that. It's huge. So yeah, this was the last time Lucas was in this episode. So that was huge. And all that. And then of course, no more Lucas. It just feels so wrong in a sense. Because I would have loved to see how Lucas felt about the sexual abuse and trying to change things and maybe being a better father to Isabella and taking more responsibility and all that. And I wish Jane even said something like that, but the writers botched that. So yeah, they missed a great redemption arc with Lucas. Yes, he kind of redeemed himself at the end of that episode. But then all of a sudden Poofy's gone and they didn't know how to write him, even though, well, they said, well, Nina was leaving the show. Like, and Mia was leaving the show, so what can they do about Lucas? Well, Mia lasted till season 9. They could have hung on to Lucas for at least a few more episodes in season 8. Pathetic, don't you think? That is how I think. Anyway, I'm jumped. I'm going to do.